I'm going to begin. I saw the film yesterday. I just really loved it. I just thought it was so sweet and just moving, and I just thought it was a really great piece of cinema.
Thank you.
I'm going to begin because actually, one of my first ever films I covered was the original, the Belgian film.
Hasta La Vista, no kidding.
Yeah, and I met all the guys from that and stuff. So it's quite funny that I'm sort of interviewing you today. But I'm just wondering about what it was about that story that really appealed to you, that made you want to retell it.
That has to go back to 2013 when I knew nothing about the original film at the time or the true story. And I was in a writer's workshop with Eric Lindhorst, who had been brought in to write the American adaptation. And just through happenstance, he asked if I would read the role of Scotty in the workshop as it was being written. And I was blown away. So my access to the story came through Eric's script, and immediately began an immediate love affair with both the character of Scotty and the overall film.
Would you consider this film a remake of the original, or is it just a retelling of Asta's story?
I would say it's a new spin on Asta's story. It pays loving tribute to the Belgian film, and it is inspired by the Belgian film, and it's also inspired by the true story, and then it's also kind of its own thing. So kind of an amalgamation of the three.
And was Asta involved much? I read somewhere that you obviously you went to him for physical and emotional kind of guidance on this front.
Yes.
I'm just wondering how involved he was and how helpful it was having him on board.
Oh, it was invaluable. I don't know what we would have done without him, but no, he from the word go, he was incredibly involved and excited. And for about 2 months leading up to the shoot, we were talking every day, multiple times a day for a couple hours, and we'd have long conversations about the perspective and also he would guide me through the physical aspects. And it was, I've never had to do that before. I've never had to work with a real life subject, and it's incredible. And I hope I get to do it again with some more real life people. And also you learn so much from the real person, and they become a part of your life. And Asta and I are now we're brothers for life. So it's cool. It's been beautiful.
Yeah, it's one of the kind of the things I think audience members like myself take for granted, the kind of friendships that are formed on movies. We just see something for 2 hours, but you work sort of tirelessly with these people for months on end, and it must
be now years. We've been together for years, and we still talk all the time.
Yeah,
and Sorry.
I was going to say it must be one of the great gifts of your profession, the meeting people. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Hopefully every time is an adventure, and it changes you in some way. Because I also produced the film, it was something that was so a part of my life for so long, that everybody involved, Richard, the director, and I are working on a new thing together. And I still talk to the other producers almost every day. And I talk to Asta all the time, and the other actors too. I mean, Hayden and I have become also friends for life. And it's been a formative experience, both in my life and my career, this one in particular. But it is one of the joys to get to go off and have adventures. And what sucks about this current climate is that I don't know when we're going to get to go on an adventure again. Yeah. So it's tricky. I hear things are opening up in the UK, right? In terms of production.
Yeah, I mean, very slowly. I mean, but I think that I think September might be when shoots begin again, maybe. But everything's so tentative because we're so afraid of a potential second wave. So everyone's a bit cautious. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that I've heard of is nothing is happening in the US that I know of. Things want to happen, but things are not happening. So
maybe we all just need to go.
It could be a great excuse to go elsewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll go to Australia. I'd love to shoot something in Australia. So I have to ask you, which film do you prefer, the Belgian one or this one?
Well, do you know what? I know this sounds like such a cop-out of an answer, but I just saw them as such different movies, and I think that they were
I can never pick between my children. They're so different. They have their own strengths and weaknesses. Stefan? I can read between the lines.
I love them both equally.
off camera, I'll get a response anyway.
Yeah, well, as soon as I stop recording. No, I did love this though. But talking about, you took on a producing role. I mean, is that something? How was that experience producing? Is it something you'd like to do more of?
Absolutely, yeah. And it's a nice way to keep my mind occupied when acting is slow, or just when you want to have a little bit more control over something. And it's very fun to engage that part of your brain, because it is actually a very creative field, and I didn't know that until I got into this. But you have an idea of how a movie can come together, and to start putting it together and see it come to life, and to see other people to see other people bring it to life, and for it to take on a life of its own, is a very cool experience. It's almost like I equate it to starting a company, and you get to watch the thing grow and evolve. And so I love it, and I can't wait to do it again. I'm doing it again. Well, we'll see, but I don't know when, but I have a few things that I'm very excited other stories to tell.
So do you find that you're most invested more so than usual, maybe just in a different way, in a sense that I know actors always want films to be well received, and they want box office receipts to be good, and they want good reviews, but as a producer, you found you're paying much more attention to that side of things now?
Oh, so much more. The stress is also much greater, because as an actor, historically I would go in and do something for a few weeks, and then I would disappear, and maybe they would email me in a few months and bring you in to do some ADR, or they say, hey, we would love to show you a cut, or, oh, it got into this festival, or, oh, this is when it's coming out. You go, great, and you see it before it comes out, or you don't see it before it comes out, and you see it and you go, oh, that's not really the movie that I would have made, or you go, hey, wow, that really surprised me, that was great. And as a producer, you're in every you're involved in every step of the process, and it's both, like I said before, it's very gratifying, and it's also very stressful. And but for this one, for me, will always have this one will always have a very special place in my heart, because it was the first movie that I produced, and if I were just involved in this as an actor, it would have been a privilege. Yeah. But to have an active role in something that hopefully a lot of people like is really cool. And to even get this is not something that I even take for granted, is that we're talking and it's coming out in the UK.
Yeah.
That I didn't even think that far ahead. The fact that we're coming out around the world now, and that this movie is not just seen by an American audience, but by a global audience. Wow. Yeah. As an actor before, I never really thought about that. But then when you're, when it's your story to tell, you just kind of log on to social media or something, and you just see like, oh, somebody in that country, but how it gets there, and what a joy that is, that your movie can find an audience all over. It's phenomenal. It's really cool,
And how important is it that we discuss the sexual needs of people with disabilities? Because it sounds like a taboo talking about it, but it's not a taboo, not by any stretch. It's the same as talking about anyone with sexual needs and desires. But when you're watching the film, it really hammers home that we're all just the same, and we all have the same feelings and emotions and desires. And how important is it that we open up this dialogue, particularly for that community?
I think it's very important. I think it's important. I think what we're seeing right now in this cultural moment is that we need to. There are a lot of things that we need to talk about, and in relation to this film, there are a lot of things to talk about. Both in regards to disability and sex, and also disability and representation, and it's almost like, let's talk about sex. Like, yes, you definitely talk about sex. But I'm very pro sexual rights for everyone. And is it important? Yes, it is important to talk about, as much as, yeah.
And what's the response been like from that community? I mean, and how important is that to you? If you're showing a film at a festival, and if someone with disabilities come up to you afterwards and say it really touched them, that must mean so much to you. It does, more so than anyone else coming up and saying it.
No, it really does, and we've had a lot of that, and it's been pretty resoundingly positive, I would say. And the conversations that we have had, with members of the disabled community has been, they're so moved, and a lot of people are just really happy that stories like this are getting told. Period, because it's rare, you know, and it's even more rare to see a movie like this when you have a story that's typically one that would focus on people who are able-bodied. You know, you've seen The Hangover, you've seen movies that are broader comedies, maybe road movies, but you haven't seen one like this, and that is probably geared a little bit more to the mainstream, you know, and talks about, I mean, the what you call it, the tagline of the movie is "Everyone has needs," you know, and it's cheeky, but it's true, you know, and so I hope that people are and continue to be happy with the film and love the film.
Yeah. And how, on the same note, I mean, how important is it as well that, I mean, your character is a bit of a dick.
A little bit.
Yeah, but again, you know, like it's just, he's real, you know, like he's flawed.
He's got a lot of pain, you know. He's got I mean, yeah, he's a dick, but he also has a lot of. It comes from a place of tremendous pain and frustration, and that was something that I got from Scotty from the word go. Is like I could understand maybe not the frustration that he was going through, but I know I knew what it was like to be young and sexually frustrated, and frustrated in general, you know, and that really spoke to me, and I had never gotten to play something like that.
Yeah. And I mean, but the film is so diverse, and for me, it seems like this film is really reflecting the America that I know when I've ever been to America, in the America that I've seen. And is this America for you? This film, the landscape that you guys have painted in this movie, is this the America you know?
I hope so, Stefan. Yeah. I hope so. Yes and no. I hope it's reflective of an America that is one that is positive, open-minded, and accepting. Sorry, it's just hard, you know. It's hard to be talking about this right now when we have just so many problems here.
Yeah.
And I don't want to give you just like I don't want to give you just a pat answer that says like, yeah, oh, absolutely, this is an America that I hope is it's something to aspire to. But I don't know. It's we have a lot of problems over here, and I hope we can figure our shit out.
Yeah. No, I was wondering if this experience changed you at all. And I'm not sort of suggesting that you needed changing, but to portray Scotty, to get into the head and the mind of this character, did it give you a different perspective on the world for even just while you were shooting?
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't think you can make a movie like this and not realize the responsibility that you have to a community to get this story right. I would say that in playing this character, I knew nothing about disability really before I started this process, and now my eyes are really open to it, you know, and through the course of making it and meeting the people and engaging with a community, it's definitely made me more open-minded. It's made me, you know, you don't look at a room the same way after you play a character like this, and you shouldn't, because it just makes you more aware. You know, playing something like this just makes you more aware, and that's been a privilege. Yeah, so absolutely, I would say it has.
And I've realised I'm sort of going over time slightly, so I should wrap up. But talking of rap, I mean, not to give away any spoilers, but there's a little rap in this movie at one point. How was that to sort of shoot? I mean, it was a brilliant scene, but was that quite nerve-wracking because even though I know you're in character, you are still performing in many ways.
Oh yeah, I can't rap myself. Ray Rosenmeyer cannot rap, and so that was we shot that scene on my birthday.
Oh wow.
2 years ago, and I knew I had to. That's something that that's, you know, given where it is in the movie, you can't get that wrong. You got to get that right. And so I prepped for about 2 months, really hard to get that rap down, and I think I had to do it something like 50 times on the day. So but I nailed it every time.
So my very final question before I will leave you, but it's just what's next. You sort of mentioned obviously that you want to get into producing and stuff. Is there any projects in the pipeline that you can talk about, or is it all quite early stages for now?
Well, I have a couple of. I think I have a movie. I have a horror movie that I'm just in called Shook. I guess that's more of a psychological thriller. I believe that's coming out later this year on some platform. I don't know yet. And then producing wise, I was just getting started on something that I won't talk about yet, but it would be a drama character study, and we were supposed to shoot in September before the world shut down, and then we were talking November, and now it's going to be maybe next spring. So I'm not sure, but I'm very excited about that one, and hopefully we'll be back talking about that one at some point.
Yeah, well, and hopefully in person, hopefully.
Yeah, please. You know, we were supposed to do this originally. This movie was supposed to come out in theaters over there earlier this spring, I think, and I was supposed to come over there and do a lot of this in person. I was so excited to come to another joy of it's not just making things that's the adventure, it's also going and promoting them, and I got to go around the world a lot in 2019 and promote the movie at different festivals and meet all kinds of people, and I was really looking forward to coming over there, and I just want to know what you smell like.
Not good.
I need your musk, Stefan. I don't know.
I've sat in this. I'm in my bedroom doing interviews all day on Zoom. You don't want to smell this musk in here, to be honest with you.
That's okay.
I'm near a train line. If I open the window, you won't be able to hear me. Thank you so much for your time today. And yeah, like it'd be great, you know, maybe in the future, who knows, for a future project we'll be able to do this in person. But best of luck with the movie. It's really great. So I'm hoping it gets all the love it deserves.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.